mentioned, Trump has been very vocal. He's been there before. He's not an unknown person to many people. And many countries understand that the kind of policies he had and the kind of relationship he had with even these international organizations like the UN, which is very key to Kenya. We host one of the biggest arms of the United Nations. That President Trump is not so keen on funding these international organizations, NATO, as he mentioned. Now, those are things that will definitely affect Kenya directly. The Haiti mission by Kenya, and you see the kind of relationship that William Ruto had with the Biden administration, Meg Whitman, the ambassador here. Do you still stand by your stance that there will be nothing will affect, no marked shift in as far as Kenya is concerned?
Even the previous ambassador, before Meghan, of course, was a Republican representative, and we did really share a lot of engagements with him in terms of U.S.-African relation and Kenya-U.S. relation. And in fact, the master plan of the Republican administration was to establish many manufacturing farms, particularly pharmaceuticals, here in Kenya for the East African market and to shift from the Middle East, which to me, that was a grand policy for Kenya. And we saw Meghan try, push it and bring more businessmen. So according to me, on the flip side of things, positive relations in non-controversial areas with the U.S. will go on, like areas of investment and trade. But the very fundamental standpoint of the Republican and of Donald Trump in terms of foreign relations, in terms of politics and conflict, that one has got nothing to do with us. If he wants to scale down...
The mission in Haiti will have
I'll come to Haiti.
Yes.
I'll come to Haiti. If you talk of Russia-Ukraine conflict, he has made his position clear, of course, and you know this has disrupted the global economy, and probably it has sucked in a lot of U.S. resources. So it's within his mandate to take that decision. That has got nothing to do with us. I agree very strongly. Things to do with conflicts in Gaza and killing of children and the wanton genocide. In fact, what we are witnessing is genocide presided over by the Democrats in the U.S. Of course, that didn't go down well globally. And these are discussions that are coming out very clearly, even right after elections. On Haiti, we are yet to see. The Haiti mission really was backed by the U.S. because it's a decision of UN. And Donald Trump has not pronounced himself with respect to Haiti, but we shall know with time. You know,
he has previously expressed his reservations at the U.S. Level of funding for the UN, which is the same source of funding.
So those are just now mere speculations. If it reaches that time of being specific, of reducing funding, support to the police forces, the multinationals in Haiti, then it can be dealt with at that level. Because for us as a country, if we don't have resources to do that, then of course Haiti mission collapses. Haiti mission will only succeed under the support of the UN. Mm-hmm. And it's about the mission to bring, to stabilize Haiti. I don't think Donald Trump is saying he'll shut his eyes in even peacekeeping programs in the world. I don't think so. These are matters for engagement, for bilateral engagement, for discussion, and I don't think the UN and the global leadership are shut down from seriously engaging in what is worthy. And other things like immigration, which of course has been talked about, is automatic and is obvious if that is going to be restricted. But then, what is it that is happening with Africa? What are the lessons that we have to learn as a continent? Must we wait for the benevolence of an administration of either Democratic Party or the Republican Party as African continent so that we can get favors. We don't live to get favors. We should work very hard to strengthen intra-African trade, to strengthen intra-African unity, to open up our borders, remove the border restrictions, remove visa restrictions, allow free movement, strengthen the African infrastructure, and even probably have one currency going into the future. Why did Africa look up to China? What we can get from the West, we can get from other partners. So I think
it's a definitely
we must engage as a continent in strategic change so that we can remain independent.
Sandra, you talked about, and you mentioned this in passing, about what we may call the scramble for Africa. The reawakened scramble for Africa. Yeah. And given the sentiments that President Trump has held even before in his first term as president, he is least interested in Africa, as opposed to the Democratic Party and the presidents there who have always had an interest here. We've seen the entry of China and incidentally and curiously, the communist